Hey guys, it's Lauren. I'm tired. This is just an update video. I'm not gonna say anything interesting or useful. I'm just gonna ramble at the computer. I presented one of my final projects last night, and anyway, I am done with attending classes for my education license, which is great. I still have some work to do, and then I will be formally I'll be teaching next year, okay? And the first semester is student teaching, right? So I have like a mentor teacher, etc. And I've got orientation coming up for that next week. And I'm just really hoping that whoever I get isn't an idiot. I don't know what the odds of that are, but hopefully be okay. I know what district I'm in. I don't know what school, so we will see. But anyway, I wish I had the energy to muster more feelings, but I just do not right now. It's been a really long week. One of our students at the elementary school was killed over the weekend in a hit and run, and so that has everybody really sad and upset. And anyway, just wrapping up for the end of the school year at the university and at the elementary school. I'm down to the last few letters that I have to write responses for, and that's been really fun. You guys have been great. I've really enjoyed having the P.O. box. So those of you who are waiting for letters, you should have them shortly. What else? I put up a new blog on Pathos a couple of days ago, and it has tweaked some nerves. It's one of my list posts, right? And those usually go over pretty well. Those usually circulate. I think because lists are they're less dense, right? They're more fun to read. And this particular post was about basically what sort of things that people do. What about people might indicate that they're actually not very well suited for Wicca, right? We do an awful lot of conversationing. That's how tired I am. About, what kinds of people might be drawn to Wicca, or like, if you're really compelled by this, well, maybe you should look into this tradition, et cetera, et cetera. We don't do a whole lot of talk about like red flags. What about people might make them unsuitable, right? And I think a big part of that is because we're really uncomfortable just collectively drawing lines, right? I don't think any of us really like excluding people, okay? It's uncomfortable, even though, particularly if you're a participant in a mystery tradition, an initiatory tradition, exclusion is just part of the game, right? Like you can't take everybody, okay? Even if everybody was perfectly well suited and it was a religion for the masses, there's no coven anywhere that can handle everybody, right? Like you'd still have to think about personality, and you'd still have to think about scheduling and time and energy and that sort of thing. Like even if you're an idealist who believes that you should welcome everybody, you still have to say no at some point, just because you have to take into consideration your own capacity for that sort of work, because running a group is, it's at least a part-time job, okay? I put a lot of energy into Foxfire, and it's most of my weekends. Like that's what I'm doing, and then during the week talking to people, and you're fielding emails and phone calls and that sort of thing. Like it's a lot of work, and 20 people in a coven is a lot more work than 2 people in a coven. So if you're really bent on welcoming as many people as possible, that just means it's a lot more work for you. So even if you're an idealist, you still have to draw a line, and it's always uncomfortable. You have to tell people no sometimes. So anyway, in this blog, I talk about some of those things. What for me personally makes me draw that line. A big one, I won't run through the blog exactly here. I'll put a link below. But the first point that I raised was people who are still carrying around a lot of baggage from being Christian. Okay, I understand too that, like, theoretically it could be any religion, but realistically we're talking about Christianity. Every time I can think of it, right? When people have appeared and they've been wounded by a childhood religion, it's always been some kind of Christianity, right? I don't meet a whole lot of, like, bitter ex-Jews, okay? Like, it's, especially here in the American South, right? Like, a lot of wounded Baptists and Lutherans and that sort of thing, Pentecostal families, whatever, okay? And it's not that the problem is having wounds from a childhood religion, it's carrying them around with you and not tending to them, right? And I make an analogy with relationships, right? When you break up with somebody, you don't immediately rebound into another relationship, or at least not if you want that relationship to last. You recover, you figure out who you are, or you go to therapy, or you something, you take care of it, you journal, okay? But you have to get that stuff under control. Otherwise, you end up drawing comparisons between the two, right? The two religions, the two people, that really just aren't fair, and you're not really giving the new tradition a fair shake, okay? So when somebody approaches me and they're like, oh, I'm really interested in Wicca because I just really hate Christianity, right? Like, hating Christianity is a terrible reason to be Wiccan. I mean, hating Christianity could result in millions of things. Wicca is not the automatic thing. So I think people should come on their own terms, right? So anyway, that was one of them. And there were a bunch of others, okay, but it's generated some conversation. I've received some heated commentary, which I enjoy. I like it when people read it, and I don't need people to agree with me, right? I never have. I think that there are good and bad ways to engage with arguments that you don't agree with, but I always like pushback. I like conversation. So anyway, this has been a fun few days. Let's see, what the hell else? Oliver's here somewhere. It's really hot. I have hardly done any running at all since that half marathon. I've been sitting around and I've been drinking beer. And my body feels it, so I have to tend to that. But for right now, I've just been trying to wrap up school and haven't been thinking a ton about running. All right. Well, I hope you guys are well. And I think that's everything. I'm going to go write some letters.